Welcome back to the show, back to talk about another serious subject, and that is online dating scams. We've seen more and more of them cropping up these days, and our next guest is going to give you some advice because she's been giving advice to a lot of people out there. It's something that people approach her about all too often. I'm joined by Karen Strang Allen. She is a love and empowerment coach. Welcome. Great to have you here, Karen.
It's great to be here.
Tell me about that. I mean, we are seeing more and more of these scams. In your personal experience, is this something that people approach you about often?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, just a couple weeks ago, I had a lady who approached me who had lost $97,000 in a romance scam. It's become a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. It's run by professional criminals. The U.S. Just last year, Americans lost $1.3 billion. Canadians lost $50 million. And they say that 10% of online dating profiles these days are fake. So it's really important to learn, the difference between somebody who's real and somebody who isn't.
Okay, that's a great way to advance my next question, because I was going to ask you about that. So how do you figure out who's real and who's not? It seems to be an incredibly difficult task these days.
Yeah, it seems that way at first, but once you know the signs, it's a little easier to pick it out. So the first sign is usually it's somebody who has a limited social profile. So pretty pictures, but haven't written a lot, don't have a lot of friends if you're on Facebook or social media, don't have a long history, like you can it looks like a very recent post kind of thing. So that's one sign. Certainly the next sign is that they refuse to meet in person. And there's always a good excuse. They're working on an oil rig, a diamond mine, they're on a military posting, they're traveling, but there's always some reason why they can't meet you. And even they'll typically refuse to do a video date as well, saying that there's internet connection problems. So that's a warning sign as well. And then, they'll love bomb. So with women, it's usually words of affirmation. It's telling you you're beautiful and you're the woman they've been waiting for, and they listen really carefully to what you're wanting, and then they'll feed that back to you. With men, it's pictures of pretty women, to make the guy feel manly, and this is a woman who often wouldn't approach him in real life, so it seems really appealing. But typically, if something feels too good to be true, it usually is.
You mentioned social media. It happens, I'm sure, probably most frequently on social media. Do we see it through email as well? What are some of the, through text? What are some of the other ways that we find?
Yeah, well, with social media, they'll usually reach out through whichever messaging platform is available, and say, hey, beautiful, and really liked what you have to share, would like to get to know you. But if somebody's making early promises of love or seems over the top with flattery, that's generally a warning sign.
So what can people do then to stay safe online? What do you recommend?
Well, certainly the first strategy for sure is to not spend too much time chatting, getting into a text relationship. You need to move to a real date. If you haven't met the person live, you can't know they're real or who they say they are. The second thing is to protect your personal information. Don't give out phone numbers, addresses, financial information. Stick to the messaging apps on the online dating apps. And then the third thing is don't send money, So what they're doing is building up your trust over the period of a month or two, and they'll eventually ask for money. And even if it's a small amount, they're trying to see if you will give money, and then the ask becomes bigger and bigger with all kinds of different excuses. It might be a medical emergency, they're in legal trouble, they're traveling and their credit cards don't work. Sometimes it's an investment opportunity. So there's all kinds of reasons they use. But long story short, if somebody you haven't even met is asking you for money, don't give it to them.
Yeah, it almost sounds like, what we always hear in certain cases is there's a grooming period here,
Absolutely.
right? And that can go on, I imagine, for quite some time before the ask. So many of these people, I imagine, play the long game.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. It can be months before they'll ask for money, and they'll actually sometimes send you a gift or flowers to have you believe that they're real. They will sometimes get a fake child or somebody else to go on the phone to tell you the police story of why they need the money. It's quite elaborate. I mean, these are professional criminals behind.
Right, yeah, of course.
And so it's just really important that if you've ever been asked for money, that you report them to the dating app, to police, and to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. and block them because they're clever at extorting money. And also
Right.
don't send sexy pictures.
Yes. Oh,
because
my
that's
goodness.
another way they extort money is
No
by
kidding.
threatening to post them publicly.
Right. You have the Soulmate Attraction Summit coming up. It's a virtual event. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a virtual one-day event, 7 hours of transformational coaching to help learn the difference between, what is a good quality partner, what kind of signs to watch for versus the signs of somebody who isn't so good quality, and to really look at evaluating your choices in love. What is getting in your way of finding a good partner, and how can you learn to move past your fear of choosing the wrong person, of rejection, to find somebody really great.
How can people sign up and register?
So on my website, KarenStrangAllen.com, and if they use the coupon code Rogers, all capital letters, they can get half price off a ticket. And all proceeds for this event go to Women's Shelters Canada, so it's also a really great cause.
I just have 40 seconds, but my last question is, can people still find love online? I mean, is that possible?
Absolutely. So yes, there's people to avoid, but there are also really great people out there. 40% of committed couples these days find their partners online. I have many clients who have, many friends who have. So
at least that's reassuring. You can still use the technology. You just have to
Absolutely.
be careful the way that you use it.
That's right.
Karen, really appreciate the time today. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
You can find out more information, by the way, at KarenStrangAllen.com. You can visit her website. Again, the Soulmate Attraction Summit happening online, virtual event, May the 27th. You can use that discount code Rogers, all capital letters. We'll be back with more right after this.